we are picking up where we left off in the first video for chapter 12. We're on page 394 in your book. We're at section 12-2, changing the page orientation. Alright, so you can set the orientation, the way the page is turned for pages in your document. A portrait orientation is taller than it is wide. Of course, landscape is wider than it is tall. So we're going to go and open up our flyer document that was in our documents that I posted out there for you on Blackboard. So go to open other document. We're going to go to computer, go wherever you placed it. I placed it on my desktop, I think. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Alright, so we want to open that flyer.docs. Alright, and then we're going to save it as dance flyer. I'm just going to throw it on the desktop. If you're putting on your flash in a folder, wherever you're saving your files, where you know where they are. We're going to change the zoom to one page. Okay, so we're going to zoom out where we can see that full page. Alright, and we're going to go to our page layout tab, and we're going to go to the orientation group, and we're going to choose landscape. Alright, the document will change to landscape orientation with the page wider than it is tall. Okay. Now, dividing a document into sections. A section is a part of a document that can have its own page-level formatting and properties. For example, you can format one section in a document with 1-inch margins and portrait orientation, and the next section with 2-inch margins and landscape orientation. Each section in a document can also have different headers and footers, okay, or a new section can restart the page numbering. Each document has at least one section. To divide a document into multiple sections, you insert a section break. Alright, there are 4 types of section break. You have next page, which inserts a section break and forces a new page to start after the section break. You have continuous, which inserts a section break without starting a new page. Even page inserts a section break and forces a new page to start on the next even numbered page. Or you have odd page, which inserts a section break and forces the new page to start on the next odd numbered page. Alright, so let's look at this. Put our zoom back to 100% or 120, whichever you prefer. Scroll to the bottom of the page 3. Okay. Place the insertion point to the left of Dance Excitement above the address. On the ribbon, click the Page Layout tab if it's not already active. In the Page Setup group, click the Breaks button. It opens up your menu. In the Section Breaks section, click Next Page. A section break is inserted, and the text after the insertion point moves to the top of the next page. On page 4, below the address, Place the insertion point before the faculty heading. Inserting another next page break section. The faculty heading and text after it moved to page 5. There are now 3 sections in the document. Alright, formatting a section differently from the rest of the document. Once you have inserted a section break, you can format each section separately. When you change the page level formatting of a section, the other sections in the document remain unchanged. So change our view to around 60% down here. Scroll so that you can see the section break on page 4 and the top of page 5. Okay. Click anywhere on page 5. On the Page Layout tab, in this Page Setup group, click the Orientation button and change it to Portrait. Alright, Section 3, which consists of page 5, changes to Portrait Orientation. Section 1, which consists of pages 1 through 3, and Section 2, which is page 4, remain Landscape. Alright, you can add different headers and footers in a section. One advantage of dividing a document into sections is that the headers and footers in each section can be different. For example, if the document includes a cover page and you want the page numbering to begin on the first page after the cover page, you can insert a section break after the cover page and then have the page numbering start on in section 2. So let's change our view back to around 100% or so and make sure the insertion point is still in page 5. On the ribbon, click the Insert tab. In the header and footer group, click the Footer button. And then below the gallery, click Edit Footer. Alright. The insertion point moves to the footer area on page 5. In the left, the footer area is labeled Footer Section 3, and on the right, the footer is labeled same as previous. Type your name. Scroll up to see the bottom of page 4. The footer area on the page is labeled Footer Section 2, and your name appears here as well because it's same as previous. Okay? Okay, so when the same as previous is showing, it means the header and footer is linked to the previous section. The same as previous tab does not appear in section 1. Because there is no previous section to link back to. To unlink the sections, make sure the insertion point in the header or footer that you want to unlink, and then deselect the Link to Previous button in the Navigation tab on the header and footer group. So we'll scroll down and make sure the insertion point is still in the footer area for section 3. On the Header and Footer Tools Design tab in the Navigation group, we're going to click Link to Previous button. We're going to click it to unlink. Okay? And then you scroll up to page 4, and the section 3 header area on page 5 will contain let's see, hang on. It says on the header and footer, make sure you're still in section 3, link to previous, the button is no longer selected, and the same as previous tab on the footer disappears. Scroll up till you see section 4, or section 2. Alright, that's 1. Alright, so in section 2 it's still same as previous. And the information from page 5 is still contained. On page 4, click after your name in the footer, and then type, press the tab key twice and type draft. The text is right aligned, and the default right tab stop in the header and footers is at the 6.5 mark. Because the page has landscape orientation, the right margin is at the 9-inch mark. Drag the right tab stop on the top of the right indent marker at the 9-inch mark on the ruler. Well, okay. So we want to make it look like that. And if you scroll down, begin to see the footer for page 5, it will not contain draft because it is unlinked from the previous section. Alright, if we double click anywhere, we'll come out of our header footer area. Save it at this point. Alright. Now the next section, 12-4, talks about inserting and modifying graphics. Graphics is a picture, shape, design, graph, chart, or diagram. You can include many types of graphics in your documents, including photographs, drawings, and graphics created using other programs. You can also create graphics using drawing tools in Word. A graphic is an example of an object. An object is anything in a document or other file that can be treated as a whole. For example, a table is an object. Objects can be added, deleted, moved, formatted, and resized. You can also add pictures stored on websites to documents. To do this, you click the Online Pictures button in the Illustrations group on the Insert tab, and this opens the Insert Pictures dialog box. And you can choose to search for an image on Office.com or use the Bing search engine to search for images across the internet. Okay, so place the insertion point on page 1 to the left of the first word in the Welcome to Dance Excitement. Okay. On the ribbon, click the Insert tab. In the Illustrations group, click the Online Pictures button. Alright, your Insert Pictures dialog box opens. Click in the Office.com clip art search box, if your insertion point's not already there, and type ballet slippers tutus. And then click the search button. After a moment, images that match these keywords appear in your dialog box. Click the photograph of the ballerina's feet colored blue, and then click Insert. The photo is placed in the line at the current location of the insertion point. Change the zoom to 70% so you can see the whole photo. I'm going to bring it on out so that you can see. Okay? Now, to work with or delete an object, you first need to select the object. When most objects are selected, a selection box will surround the object. As you can see here on the screen, the photo is selected. The small squares at each corner of the selection boxes in the center of each side are sizing handles. that you can drag to change the size of the object. For some selected objects, like the photo you inserted, a circle appears above the top middle sizing handle of the selected object. This is the rotate handle, which you can drag to rotate the object in either direction. When an object is selected, a contextual tab appears on the ribbon with options for formatting, editing, moving, and resizing the object. For tables, as you have already seen, the two table tools contextual tabs appear. When you select most images, the Picture Tools Format tab appears. However, some images are treated as drawings, so the Drawing Tools Format tab will appear when they are selected. The Picture Tools Format tab and the Drawing Tools Format tab contain similar commands. If you want to cut off part of a graphic, you can crop it. For example, you can crop an illustration of an ice cream cone by cropping off the cone, leaving only the ice cream itself. To crop a photo, select it and then click the Crop button in the Size group on the Picture Tools Format tab. When the crop button is selected, crop handles appear just inside of the sizing handles. You can drag the crop handles to crop off those parts of the photo. Okay. The crop button appears only on the Picture Tools Format tab. There is no crop button on the Drawing Tools tab. So on the ribbon, click the Picture Tools Format tab if necessary. In the Size group, click the Crop button. Crop button is selected and black crop handles will appear inside the sizing handles, okay, on the sides of the photo. Point to the top middle crop handle. Your pointer will change there to the two bars intersecting. Press and hold the mouse button and the pointer will change to a plus sign. Drag down to just below the ballerina's bended knee. Okay. And then release the mouse button. Scroll up. Okay. So that you can see the uncropped portion of the photo. The top portion of the photo that will be cropped off is shaded gray. Change the zoom to 120. Um, 100 is more comfortable for me. And then drag the bottom middle crop up to about 1/8 inch below the foot to the left. Okay. And then drag the right handle to the left to just box in the shoes. And then drag your left handle in. To where you just box in the feet. On the Picture Tools tab, now click the Crop button. Crop button is selected, and the crop handles and the crop portions of the photo disappear, leaving you with the feet that you selected. Alright, you can change the size of graphics you insert. The easiest way to do this is to drag the sizing handles. You can also change a graphic's measurements using the Shape Height and Shape Width boxes in the Size group on the Picture Tools or Drawing Tools Format tab. Pictures and other objects that cause the Picture Tools Format tab to appear when selected have their aspect ratios locked by default. Aspect ratio specifies an object's height relative to its width. When you resize a graphic with its aspect ratio locked, dragging a corner sizing handle or changing one dimension in the Size group on the Picture Tools Format tab changes the other dimensions by the same percentage. However, dragging one of the sizing handles in the middle of the graphic's border overrides the locked aspect ratio setting and resizes the object only in the direction you drag. Generally, you do not want to override the aspect ratio setting when resizing photos because the images will become distorted. So on the selected photo, point to the upper right size handle. The pointer will change to a double-ended arrow, and then press and hold the mouse button until the pointer changes to a plus sign. Drag the sizing handle down and to the left. As you drag, the overall size of the photo will shrink. When the photo is approximately 1.5 inches squared, release the mouse button. Use the measurements in the shape and height width box in the size group on the Picture Tools Format tab as a guide. So right here, I'm 1.42 and 1.47, and I'm going to leave it at that size. So get it somewhere close and leave it there. Alright, save at this point. Now, like text and tables, pictures can have a style applied. A picture style can consist of a border, a shape, or an effect such as a shadow, reflection, or three-dimensional effect. Alright, so on the Picture Tools tab in the Picture Styles group, click the More button. Point to the various styles and observe the live preview. So we're going to have to scroll this over. Let's see. Get bigger and push it over to the side so that you can see your live preview. Okay, so you can see the preview of the effects. In the Picture Styles gallery, click the Simple Frame Black style. So you have to moderate, compound, Simple Frame Black. It's right here. So we're going to click that one. Now I can shrink this back out. The gallery will close and it's been selected and applied. This style applies a 3-point black border and a small drop shadow effect. You can adjust this style by using the buttons in the Picture Style group. In the Picture Style group, click the Picture Border button arrow. Point to weight and then choose 1/4. The border thickness is changed to 1/4 point. Okay, save your changes at this point. Now the next section, 12-5, talks about wrapping text around graphics. So graphic objects in a document can be either inline or floating. An inline object, often called an inline graphic, is located in a specific position in a line of text in the document, and the object moves along with the text. For example, if you type text to the left of an inline object, the object moves right to accommodate the new text. You can drag the object to another position in the document, but it appears in a line of text wherever you drop it. When you format a paragraph that contains an inline object, the inline object is also formatted. For example, if you right align the paragraph, the inline graphic will be right aligned with the paragraph. Okay? A floating object, often called a floating graphic, can be positioned anywhere in the document and the text will flow, wrap around the object, or float on top of or behind it. The wrap settings are square. Text flows around the straight edges of an object's border. Tight, text flows around the contours of the object. Through, text flows over the contours of the object itself and also fills any open spaces in the graphic. Top and bottom, text stops at the top border of an object and resumes below the bottom. Behind, text flows over the graphic, and so it's behind the text. In front of the text, text flows behind the graphic again. Okay. To change the wrap properties of an object, select the graphic and then click the Layout Options button that appears next to the upper right corner of the selected graphic to open a menu of wrap options. Alright, so if we have our photo selected and then click the Layout Options button, the menu will open. On the menu, click the square option and the text in the document wraps around the photo on both sides, and the square option on the menu is now shaded blue to indicate it's selected. Okay. Save at this point. Now, moving a graphic. To move a graphic, you drag it to its new position. If the graphic is an inline graphic, you can drag it to its new position in any line of text. The same pointer and vertical indicator line that you saw when you dragged selected text appears. When you drag a floating graphic, the graphic follows the pointer, and the text flows around it as you drag. As you drag floating graphics, green horizontal and vertical lines called alignment guides appear to help you align the object with the text and other objects on the page and with the margins. So we got our photo. We're going to point to our photo. And then we're going to drag our photo to the left and down so that the green vertical alignment guides indicate that the left edge of the photo aligns with the left margin, and the top edge of the photo aligns with the top of the paragraph below the Welcome to Dance Excitement. Okay. Text effects are special formatting effects such as an outline, a shadow, reflection, or glow effect you can apply to text. A text box is a container that contains text like the photo you inserted. Text boxes are objects that have a selection border, sizing handles, and a rotate handle. Word art is a term used to describe formatted decorative text in a text box. Alright, so on page 1, select all of the text in the second paragraph. Welcome to Dance Excitement. Right here. Okay, that's the first paragraph. Alright, hang on just a second. It says second paragraph, but it's talking about the first paragraph. Welcome to Dance Excitement. Here. Alright. On the ribbon, click the Home tab, if it's not already selected. In the font group, click the Text Effects and Typography button. A menu of styles and categories open. In the gallery of styles, click the Gradient Fill Orange Accent 4 outline. Gradient Fill Orange Accent 4 outline. Okay. In the color palette in the submenu, the orange accent 4 color is then selected. This is the outline color that is part of the style you applied to the text. Point to shadow in the submenu. Now, shadow is selected as part of the style you applied. Wait a minute. No shadow is selected as part of the style you applied. In the outer section, click the Offset Diagonal Bottom Right Shadow. Alright, the shadow is applied to the text. In the font group, click the Font Color button arrow. And then click the Red Accent 2 Darker 25%. The color of the text changes to the dark red color. To insert a text box, you use the text box button in the text group on the Insert tab. After you create a text box, you can apply word art styles and other formatting to it. To insert a text box that has a word art style applied to it, use the Word Art button in the text group on the Insert tab. Alright, so on page 1, place the insertion point in the empty first paragraph above Welcome to Dance. On the ribbon, click the Insert tab. In the text group, click the Word Art button. The gallery of word art styles appears. In the gallery, click the Gradient Fill Orange Accent 4 Outline Accent 4. Alright, a text box is inserted with the placeholder text, your text here. The placeholder text is selected. Because the wrapping is set to in front of text, you can see the text in the document behind the text box. Type Dance Excitement. Alright. In Drawing Tools Format tab will appear on the ribbon when a text box is selected. The tab is similar to the Picture Tools Format tab. Most of the commands in the Word Art Styles group format the text in the text box. The styles in the Styles gallery are the same styles you saw when you created the Word Art earlier. Okay. Point to the Word Art text box so that the pointer changes to four-sided arrows, and then click the border. The border changes to a solid line, and the text box is selected. On the Drawing Tools Format tab in the Word Art Styles group, click the Text Outline button arrow. And the color palette will open. In the color palette, click the Red Accent 3, Darker 50%. The outline of the text is changed to the dark red. In the Word Art Styles group, click the Text Fill button and then click the Red Accent 3. And this is the same as changing the font color. In the Word Art Styles group, click the Text Effects button and then point to Transform. Okay. The gallery for the transform effects opens. Point to several of the transformations to see a live preview. Okay. In the warp section, click the chevron up. Text is formatted to the shape you selected. In the Styles group, click the Shape Fill button arrow. In the color palette, click the white background 1 color. Alright, in the Shape Fill area, click the white background 1. Text box shape is filled with white and you can no longer see the text behind it. You can resize text boxes in the same manner as photos. You drag the sizing handles or use the shape height and shape width boxes in the size group on the Drawing Tools Format tab. The aspect ratio for text boxes is not locked, so changing one dimension will not automatically change the other. When a text box is selected, left and right indent markers on the ruler indicate the margins inside the text box. Unlike photos, text boxes are inserted as floating objects, so you can position them anywhere on the page. Text boxes created using the Word Art button have the in front of text wrapping option applied. On the Drawing Tools Format tab, in the size group, click the Shape Width box. Type 6 and then hit Enter. In the size group, click the Shape Height and click 1. Okay. Click the Layout Options button and then click Top and Bottom option. Point to the solid line text box border so that the pointer will change to the four-sided arrow. Drag the box to the right above the Welcome to Dance Excitement paragraph and use the green alignment guides to align the top of the Word Art text box with the top margin and to horizontally center the text box. Alright, save it. And it should look something like this now. Alright, section 12-8 is working with columns. Columns allow the eye to take in a lot of text and to scan quickly for interesting information. Formatting text in multiple columns also allows you to fit more text on a page than if the text were in only one column. Alright, you can format an entire document or one section of a document into columns. Alright, so below the Word Art text box, place the insertion point before the word Welcome. On the ribbon, click the Page Layout tab. In the Page Setup group, click the Columns button and then click 2. All the text in section 1 after the insertion point is formatted into 2 columns. Scroll down and view pages 4 and 5. These pages, which are in sections 2 and 3, are still formatted as one column. Okay. Scroll to the beginning of the document. Make sure the insertion point is still positioned before the word Welcome. In the Page Setup group, click the Columns button and then click More Columns. Columns dialog box will open. In the Apply To box, this section appears indicating that the settings you selected in this dialog box will apply only to the text in the current section. Above the Preview section, click the line between checkboxes selected. A vertical line appears in the preview area separating the 2 columns. Click OK. The column dialog box will close. A vertical line is inserted between your 2 columns. Scroll up so that you can see the Word Art text box if you can't. The vertical line behind the text box is not visible because you filled the text box with white. Compare your screen to mine or to Exhibit 410 in your book to see that it looks something similar. Alright, balancing columns. That is making the columns on pages in a section the same length. Creates a professional looking document. To automatically balance columns, you insert a continuous section break at the end of the last column on the last page in the section. The columns will remain balanced no matter how much material you add or remove from either column. If you want a column to end at a specific point or you want to manually balance the columns, insert a column break using the Breaks button in the Page Setup group on the Page Layout tab. Alright, so we're going to scroll down so that you can see the end of the second column on page 3. Alright. Alright. In the second column, in the last line, place the insertion point between the paragraph mark and the dotted line that indicates the next page section. Alright, we've got to turn our markers on. Alright, so we're going to place insertion point between the paragraph mark and those dotted break lines. On the Page Layout tab in the Page Setup group, click the Breaks button. In the Section Breaks section, click Continuous. A continuous section break is inserted at the insertion point and the columns on the last page are balanced. Now there are 2 section breaks in a row. The continuous section break you just inserted is immediately followed by the next page section break you inserted before the address on page 4. Section 1 is everything before the continuous section break. Section 2 is essentially blank because nothing appears between the 2 section breaks. Section 3 is page 4 and section 4 is page 5. Scroll down so you can see the footer on page 3 and the header on page 4. On page 3, double click in the footer area. The tab on the footer identifies the footer as section 1 and the header on page 4 identifies it as section 3. Double click anywhere outside the footer or header area. On the ribbon, click the View tab. In the Zoom group, click the Multiple Pages button. Change the zoom to 40%. And then look at your screen. Okay. Save everything at this point. Alright. 12-9 is working with building blocks. Building blocks are parts of a document that are stored and reused. Word has many pre-designed building blocks for a wide variety of items, including cover pages, calendars, numbering, text boxes, and more. You use building blocks when you added formatted headers and footers. You can create custom building blocks as well. Building blocks are stored in galleries. If you save a custom building block to another gallery, it will be available when you access that gallery along with the built-in building blocks that were already in that gallery. Building blocks that are stored in the Quick Parts gallery in the text group on the Insert tab are called Quick Parts. There are no predefined Quick Parts. You need to create these. For example, you might make your signature block for a letter Sincerely, several blank lines, your name, and your title. A Quick Part so you can quickly insert the text without typing it every time. Alright, so we're going to switch back to our class table document that we saved. So make sure this is saved, and we're going to go out here to open. We're going to go back to our class table that we saved from our last video. And we're in a position, let's see, is it coming up? Let's go down this way. We'll just drop that down and double click it. There we go. There's our class table. Alright. So we're going to zoom in so that we can see our class table. And we're going to position the insertion point at the beginning of the document before the word August, if it's not already there. We're going to click the insert, the ribbon, click the insert tab. In the text group, click the quick parts button. Quick parts you create, let's see. Hang on. Okay, alright. Go back. We didn't create our quick part. Go back to our flyer. Change our zoom back to 100%. I skipped a section. I was inserting it before I created it. Okay, on page 4, select all the text from Dance Excitement. The little heading section there. On the ribbon, click the Insert tab. And then click Save Selection. Let's see. Insert tab. In the text group, click the Quick Parts button. Okay, that's not right. Where's my Quick Parts button? Let's add and drop. Choose a text box. Where are it? That's gotta be it. Save selection to Quick Part Gallery. Okay. Now then, building block will be saved in the Quick Parts Gallery and in the building blocks template. In the name box, type contact info. And then click OK. Now go back to our table doc with the insertion point here. We're going to use that. Alright, so we're going to go to Insert, Quick Parts, and then your contact info is showing there, so you're going to click on it and it's added to your document. Okay. It creates it there with its own paragraph within the document. In the closing of the letter, replace Kim Parker with your name. So scroll down and put your name where Kim Parker is. And make sure you save your document. Alright? And then you can close class table once again. Alright, the building blocks organizer dialog box lists all the building blocks in the global building blocks template and in the current template. In the building blocks organizer dialog box, you can sort the building blocks by their names, gallery location, categories, or template location. You can also use the building blocks organizer to insert a building block, edit the properties of a building block, or delete a building block. So on the Insert tab in the text group, click the Quick Parts button. And then click Building Blocks Organizer. Click the Name column header. The list is sorted in alphabetical order. Click the Gallery column header. The list is sorted in alphabetical order by gallery. Scroll down until you see the entry in the Quick Parts gallery, and then click the Contact Info building block. Right here. Okay. The selected building block appears in the preview pane. Refer to this picture or to the exhibit on page 414 in your book. Below the building blocks list, click Delete. And then click Yes. You're sure you want to delete it. The dialog box closes and the Contact Info Custom building block is deleted from the computer. At the bottom of the dialog box, click the Close button. Save and close the dance flyer document. I want you to save it. I want you to do take it back to the home at the top and close it out, etc. Yes, you want to save. Okay. Open up your class table once more. You use the building block to create that. It does not disappear. It's still there. Make sure everything is saved, and you reclose it. So close both your documents down. Alright, so that concludes the lecture for Chapter 12 on Word. If you have any questions about anything in Chapter 12 or any of the previous chapters of Word, please let me know, because you do have an exam coming up, so I want to make sure you guys know how to do all of this. Alright, so just let me know if there's any questions.